Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. I hope you guys are doing very well today because I have a special guest. Guest.
Hi, I'm the special guest.
He's my special guest. This is Simon from SavidgeReads, who needs no introduction because my channel exists because of his channel. So,
yeah, but people might have found you and not found me.
That is true. Like
4,000.
He is very kindly agreeing to be on my channel. We are meeting for the first time here in San Francisco,
This weekend,
California.
not right now. Like, I don't just invite people straight into a hotel room to come and film. Hi.
This is true. We did. I'm here for the Reader's Retreat, which has been fantastic. And
Yeah, it's been really nice. It's been fantastic.
Yes. So I'm not allowed to say fantastic, and I want you all to know that this is going to have a really long intro because he loves the fact that there's a pause at the start of all my videos.
I'm going to show you how to get rid of it.
Yeah. Okay. He's going to edit all my stuff for me too. So
No, just over that. Okay.
So thank you for being on my channel, Simon. Are you ready?
Pleasure. I'm ready. I love the fact that you said that like I was about to just go on a roller coaster. Are you ready? Woo! He's gone.
So we're going to be talking about today some authors that we have been wanting to...
We're hoping that we are, because I'm still thinking of something.
I gave him this topic like days ago too, so he really
I thought
prepared.
you were joking. That's why I didn't prepare it.
We're going to be talking about authors that we've been meaning to read, authors that we want to read more of, or authors we've heard about and we haven't purchased, or stuff like that. So books, authors that we really have been meaning.
How many each? So that I can prepare.
Let's do 3.
Okay.
Can you do 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so, but you can go first.
I'm going to go first because I can actually start with one that and you can kind of give me a place to start. So I have really wanted to read Sarah Waters forever, and I've actually tried 2 of her books, The Paying Guest and Tipping the Velvet, on audio, and it didn't work for me. So
why?
Because I think she's more of a book where you have to get caught in the atmosphere, and they're slow. You know, they don't. So I think it was a lot of building, and I just couldn't get bought in. I think she's going to be one that I want to read. And so I have like 5 Sarah Waters books on my shelves, and I've read none of them. So I know.
Which ones have you got?
I have Tipping the Velvet, The Little Stranger, The Paying Guest, Fingersmith, and I can't remember the 5th one. I can kind of see it on my shelf. But everyone says I should start at the beginning with Tipping the Velvet.
Yeah, and have you seen the TV show Tipping the Velvet?
I have not.
Then I would suggest starting with that one, because the reason that I've not read that one yet is because I can still remember the film, particularly one scene, which is where the 2 women first meet, and it made me laugh out loud. Well, there's 2 actually scenes that made me laugh out loud, and one was where, because it's Diana Rigg's daughter who's the star of it, and she's holding her hand out, and the other woman is like holding her out, because it's a lesbian love story, holding her hand, she's like, she's like, your hands smell amazing, and she's like, a fish, and the other one goes, no, like a mermaid, and that just made me laugh. And then there's also a scene.
I remember that in the audio version.
There's a scene that involves a how can I use this as a word? A dildo.
Oh, I told you.
And
PG.
all that it says is when that happens is that the woman involved just goes, "Oh, you exquisite little tart." And I use that around the house quite a lot. That's it.
I've really wanted to read The Little Stranger, and I know that's been like the one that's in my head because
the film's coming out as well.
The film is coming out, and October it seems like a good month to read The Little Stranger.
My thing with Sarah Waters is I loved Affinity. I think that was the first one I read. Then I read The Night Watch. Then I read The Little Stranger, and then I've recently read The Paying Guest. And what I seem to be feeling like, I'm going to read Fingersmith at Christmas, I think. But what I feel like is she's got the curse of the no edits.
Yeah.
So I think she doesn't get edited because I just find The Little Stranger I just found way too long. It was brilliant in parts, but really, really long. And the same with The Paying Guest. There were some bits that I loved, and some bits that I was just like, but she's such a good writer, you can't really complain about it. Yeah. But Alan Hollinghurst, on the other hand, you can complain about, because he just does not know when to stop. Oh, and also he thinks that we don't need any more LGBTQ books.
Oh, that's how I feel about Stephen King. One time I'm like, Stephen King needs an editor. Like, his books get longer and longer and longer, but I'm like, no one ever takes any parts of it out. So
your first one, Sarah, was...
What's your first one?
My first author that I feel like I should... Okay, one that I feel I should read more of, that I've got all of her books on my shelves, and I think I've only read 2, is Anne Tyler.
Oh.
So I literally... In fact, actually, there's the 2 Annes, so I'm going to cheat and have 4.
one of the Anns is mine too, so I think.
Oh, that's interesting. So, okay, Ann Tyler, I've read Digging to America? No, Digging from America? One, called that. And then I read Breathing Lessons, which is, I think, the one that won the Pulitzer. And I really love her writing, and I really love the way she observes people. And then I bought all of her books, because it was that thing of like, oh my God, I love her.
Yeah.
And then I've just not read any of her since.
She's one of those authors too. I have not read Ann Tyler, but I know like people are passionate about her. Like when people read her, they read her entire catalog, and it's crazy. So, but I agree. I think she's one that we probably should read more of.
Yeah, I feel like I should read more of it. So therefore, what's your next one?
I'm gonna save my last Anne because there's a bone of contention between Simon on my last one.
Oh, I know why this is.
But the other author,
this one down.
yes, he's not because he just.
I just thought of two more.
So my second one is Helen Oyeyemi.
Actually, I've got all of her books and I haven't read any.
I have all of her books and I haven't read any either. And I feel like I would love her. I feel like everything about her says that I would love her.
I might try her short stories first, I think.
I've heard that that's a good entry point. But
what's it called? What is not yours is not yours, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And I've had Mr. Fox, is that what it's called? On my shelf.
Oh, I nearly bought that in City Lights because the American edition is really lovely, but I already have it, so I can't justify that.
But she's one of those authors that I feel like she puts a book out, everyone raves about it, I buy it, and then I just never get to it.
And she's got another one coming out next year, hasn't she?
Gingerbread, and people are really excited about it. So.
Well, also, in the UK, everybody got, when the proof came, it came with a packet of gingerbread. Well played. And it's not normal gingerbread, it's Grasmere gingerbread, which is not the same.
Oh.
So Grasmere gingerbread is like harder than a flapjack crumble, but then with a layer of ginger treacle through the middle. And it's like a totally different...
Whoever was sending that out, I will give you my address. You can send it to me in the US.
It's the UK one, it's not going to happen. Are you not allowed to send food goods, are you?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm taking loads of
books.
Cheetos back to the UK, so I hope so.
I won't post this until he's back in the UK, so no one can find him first.
And my second one is Alice Munro.
Oh, have you read any of her?
No, nothing by her.
You need to read some Alice Munro short stories.
Yeah. I think she's one that I was trying to think because I was giving it all sorts of names other than Alice Munro. But yeah, Alice Munro I think would be the next one because I've heard so much good stuff about her, and because I do love short stories, I just don't read them enough. But I've heard her. Is she a lesbian?
No, she is married, I believe. I'm not sure, but it's to a man. I know she's married.
Why did I get the feeling that she was a lesbian?
You know my favorite Alice Munro story?
I'm not going to get sued by Alice Munro.
My favorite Alice Munro story is when she won the Nobel Prize for Literature. They're on Twitter. No one could get a hold of her because she doesn't have like a cell phone like we do. She's in her 70s, I think. But someone that does is Margaret Atwood, and they're both Canadian. And Margaret Atwood on Twitter goes, Alice Munro, pick up your phone. Everyone's trying to get a hold of you, and they're calling me. And Margaret Atwood was like, you won the Nobel Prize. It was really funny. And she didn't know for like... the world knew. And
Wow.
Alice Munro was like, it was a very great story.
So she's another one. That's my second author.
Well, and then my third is Anne Patchett, who we were talking about. Again, I have had Bel Canto on my shelf for, I want to say, since it came out.
That was one of my grand's all-time favourite books, and I still haven't read it. And I think I haven't read it because I'm worried that I'm going to be thinking about it the whole way through and it'll just upset me.
And I've started it, and I like the idea behind it, but it's never sort of caught me, so I've always sort of moved on. But we were on the Reader's Retreat, and Thomas recommended that we get The Magician's Assistant.
He's been telling me to read that far.
Which is a great place to start. And we're in Green Apple Books, and there are 2 copies. Three. One had a horrible cover.
About the cover.
Horrible cover. And so I pick up one, and Simon picks up the other. I'm super excited, but mine has that black dot on the bottom and the scratches in the back.
Covered up the barcode.
And his doesn't. And his is $1 cheaper. And I wanted the book. He was like, oh, and then of course the minute I wanted it, he bought the other
we
copy.
picked up at the same time. I just happened to pick the better, cheaper edition up.
That's what we're. That's
there was
what
no
he's
diva nature about it.
No, that's what he's going with.
I just won.
Yeah, he did. But we did both buy that book.
Yeah.
That seems like a buddy read since this Cosmos got us that book together.
We've not done very successful buddy
Transcription
reads.
was a fantastic buddy read.
It was a fantastic book, but we didn't really compare anything because you fell asleep loads.
there's an 8-hour time difference between Simon and I, so when I'm reading at night, he's in bed, and when he's reading and talking, I'm usually in bed, so, yeah.
But maybe one day.
It won't happen now.
It might happen.
Who's your third author?
My third one is Pat Barker. I just suddenly thought, I've never read any of her other books, and I really, really want to read The Silence of the Girls. This is going to be the next book. I've realised that every so often I have a book that I just talk about loads because it's on my mind all the time.
Yeah.
It's a sign I need to get that book.
So I got that book as my Book of the Month Club book, and she was nominated for the Booker.
No, she wasn't. Not with this one.
Not for this one, but for a prior book.
Has she won the Booker?
Maybe
Did
she
Regeneration win?
I'm not sure,
She's been up for the Women's Prize quite a few times. This is a big departure for her because the reason that it's put me off reading her before is that she writes about World War II a lot.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
And also one of her series. No, she has a series of books, and I can never remember the right order. So when I see them in the shop, I'm like, but I do have a signed copy of Regeneration at home, so I should really give that a whirl at some point. But I think The Silence of the Girls is going to be the one that gets me in.
Yeah, I think that one sounds fantastic, and
again, the US cover is so much better than the UK cover.
Well, and Jean, if you're looking for someone to recommend that book to you, listen to Jean talk about it.
Yeah, she has talked about it a lot, and I think it made her really, really emotional.
Yeah,
and I think actually I could insert that because I'm so nervous about reading Circe. I think I need to read something else. But I'm also going to get my mum a copy of it because Mum was a classicist, so she'll really.
So Pat Barker's new book is actually the Iliad told from the perspective of the women. So it's from sort of some of the villainous women's Helen of Troy, but it's also from like the prostitutes.
Helen wasn't a villain. She was a bit of. I just felt for her. She was a bit of a. She was almost cattle.
Did you read the Iliad?
No, as if I did. Sorry, Mum. Sorry.
I think sometimes she comes off a little bit. I mean, she did leave her husband for another man. So
that's not evil. That's just life sometimes.
That is true. That is true. So I'm gonna toss one out here, and I'm gonna say, Simon,
can't say that.
I'm adding a twist to my video.
That, Julie? He said he's gonna toss one out.
So I'm gonna recommend an author that I don't think Simon has read a lot of.
We just said there was three.
But I've read a ton of this person. But I think that you need to you probably haven't read a lot of Toni Morrison.
I have. I didn't enjoy it.
You didn't love Toni
Morrison?
Morrison?
There's a controversial thing to say.
Okay, then we're done. We're not friends any longer.
Okay, that's fine. We're filmed now, so we don't need to be.
But that is true.
No, I've read two of her lesser known books, so maybe I do need to read her better known books.
Yeah, better known books. But I always think of her as an author that I think her whole catalog is so good. So
I'd like to read more Maya Angelou, actually. That's another author I'd like to read more of. I'm trying to think of any other different authors. I've still never read. I know it's not an author, but I've still never read The Colour Purple.
Oh.
And that's a book, just as a book, that I feel like I need to read at some point.
It's heartbreaking. It's really good. And it's, we were talking earlier today about epistolary novels. That book is sort of told in a journal to God. It's like her writing to it. And it has like a powerful sort of message about finding yourself.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
But I try not to. And this is why I was having a struggle when you mentioned it initially. Because I was like, I try not to have authors I feel like I need to tick off, because if you start to tick authors off, it's like work.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And I don't want reading to be reading is sometimes work for me, but only because I choose to read or for whatever I want to do. But yeah, I don't want it to feel like one of the guests on the Readers Retreat was saying they kind of didn't really read short stories and they felt like they needed to get in. And I was like, you don't need to get into anything. Get into them when you want to. Like, I don't feel I need to read sci-fi or fantasy because I know it's not really my bag.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put pressure on myself to be like, Simon, you must read one sci-fi book every 2 months, 6 months, year, whatever. If it happens, it happens.
You'll probably never like the book too if you put that sort of pressure on yourself. So.
Yeah, but you can also do it the other way where you think you're going to massively love a book, so you need to read it, and then you can go the other way.
Yeah. Is there an author you've read everything? That you just, their book comes out and you're just like...
Oh yeah, Jane Harris, I've read all of hers, but it's normally authors who are only on like their third or fourth or fifth book.
That's mine is John Williams, who wrote Stoner. I've read, but he only wrote 3 books before he passed away, so it's real easy to read his entire catalog.
Yeah, there's a few authors I like, and I would at some point like to do author spotlights where I talk about those authors, because one of the things that somebody else said this weekend that really chimed with me is that what they like about podcasts and YouTube channels that make them feel different is that it's a time where publishers, marketing departments don't have time to celebrate certain authors who've not had a book out for quite a while.
Yeah.
So there's a huge gap in the books that I've read that I would like to share with more people.
Yeah.
I've still not read all of Daphne du Maurier's novels, but also it's because I don't want to run out.
Yeah, that can, if your favorite, you don't want to have.
I've got a horrible feeling, like, because I keep wanting to save Muriel Sparks' Memento Mori, is like the last book of hers that I read, but I'm like, what if I save it and then I die 2 days before I could have read it? On that note, I want to thank you. So I wouldn't have a channel without this guy. Yeah, you might do.
No, I wouldn't.
You might do.
With his inspiration, I started this. So
you wouldn't have a podcast coming out without this guy.
I'm gonna have a podcast because he introduced me to my podcast partner, who you guys will all be meeting in a video on his channel sooner rather than later. And but I know, but I'm really happy to have met Simon in person. This has been a weekend come true. So thank you so much for being on my channel.
Thank you for coming on the Readers Podcast Retreat. Readers Retreat.
The Readers Retreat. Hashtag the Readers Retreat. So until next time, guys, happy reading, and we'll talk to you later. See you later. Bye.
Bye.